Dave from Milwaukee asks, what specifics need to be covered when making a contract for a show?
For what kind of show?
I guess like a band show at a venue.
Oh, a band performance, not a radio show with Martin Atkins. Because,
right.
Those are much more difficult. The radio show with Martin Atkins, a lot of preparation for that.
Oh, yes.
For performance, for a band performance, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously the money, the guarantee, a split of the door. You might want to review all of the production expenses and all of the expenses that the club is going to include in determining what they're going to pay out. Usually there's a spreadsheet that they'll give you. They'll say we're guaranteeing you $500 versus X, say 60% of the door. And here's our production costs for putting on the show. It's X for the sound system and the sound man and X for opening the doors or whatever. And if we get over X dollars, then you will get this remaining amount. So that's a key element. You also want to know what time is load-in, what time is sound check, how long your set is, and when your set is. You might want to know if there's backline available for you, if you can use the drums or the guitar or bass amp of the house. If there's a dressing room for you, if there are beers or any other food services provided along with the guarantee. If you have a rider, as a band, you should probably have a rider that says what drinks and what food you're entitled to when you come to the club. I would try and prepare something beforehand. If you Google rider or band rider, you're going to see all sorts of stuff, but look for maybe a short one if you're a new band, and don't take the one that eliminates the green M&Ms. You probably don't need that yet. But grab a rider off the... What's that?
Merch percentage. Does the house take a percentage of your merchandising?
Right, that's a good point. Exactly. How much are they going to take from your sales? Will they sell for you? That's another question also, because if you don't have a merch person traveling with you, you may want the house to sell, and then what percentage they take for that.
Right. And here's a kind of a big one. I know we've talked about this before. We did a panel down at South by Southwest together 2 years ago that I thought was really, I enjoyed a lot. Should you expect the contract to protect you in the event that the venue decides not to pay you?
Well, here is I remember that, and that was one of the questions tossed at us, possibly by Mr. Steve Hutton. So the deal is the contract is good as a contract for whatever the amount is, but remember, if you don't get paid, if something happens, you have to then enforce the contract. And enforcing the contract could be just a letter or maybe taking the venue to court or small claims court or whatever the amount is for. But the problem there is that enforcing it could get expensive. So you have to take a look at what it's going to cost you to enforce it versus what you're getting paid. And a strong letter is always good, and also some bad publicity may be good for you and something that the venue doesn't want. So you should try and use whatever avenues are open to you. But if the guarantee is $500 and the attorney is going to cost you $1,000 to prepare any kind of filing or a letter, then you may not want to do that because you're going to end up in the red. However, you could, if you win your lawsuit, you could ask that the court provide attorney fees against the venue, so they pay back the attorney fees. But it's really a long, slow process, and a band touring around does not really have the wherewithal to go and enforce this in various cities or in whatever city it was that the venue messed with you. So it's really twofold. My recommendation would be to find somebody to write a strong letter that according to the contract, they owe you the money. And number two, maybe post something. See how it goes with the letter. See if you get a response. And if there's no response, you might want to post something that this venue is not paying and they're not responding. So
maybe as good as it gets, maybe as good as it would get would be, hey, other bands, be careful playing this venue with this person. We had some problems there. Maybe as good as it gets is some goodwill for you warning some other bands that might appreciate the warning and reciprocate in some way.
Right. Or, it's possible that you could, I wouldn't put in a letter that you will post something of that nature, but you might send a letter. If you get no response, try and reach them on the phone and let them know that you are going to post that unless you get some kind of response on the letter.
Right.
So at least there's some incentive for them to resolve it. And you may end up getting only half the money or whatever, but trying to enforce it all the way through, if the guarantee isn't a big guarantee, is going to cost you some money and take a lot of time, which you may not have.
Okay. I'm just going to keep them coming thick and fast.